Hey everyone, rudyxx here to talk about another RPGalooza game, Atelier, Shallie. For those of you that don't know, RPGalooza is a project I started involving playing through a huge list of RPG titles, ranging from Western style to Japanese. And while I'm not a huge RPG connoisseur, I do like to dabble in them every now and then, so hopefully I can provide for you all a more modern day gamer's look at my experience with them. So with that out of the way, on to Atelier, Shallie. For my playthrough of this game, I decided to follow the Shallie route because green-haired Shallie reminds me of my favorite Vocaloid, Gumi. Also, I should probably note that this was my very first Atelier game, so I went into this one with absolutely no knowledge of any previous games in the series and how they worked compared to this one. From what I've come to understand though, that probably played to my advantage, as this one apparently seems a lot like Baby's first Atelier game, in terms of general mechanics and whatnot. There's not really any time limits for things, and for the most part the game is simple enough in its presentation that it's never very challenging even on the higher difficulties. Anyways, for me it was a very cute and fun experience. There wasn't a whole lot to the game in terms of just being incredibly straightforward. You just do events and move on to the next thing, and if you can't figure out what to do next, then the answer was typically just do alchemy. The story wasn't super involved and was incredibly generic at times, but the characters were all super cute, so it was just an average cute anime story. I ended up really liking Shallie's character, so despite it being super generic, I ended up having a good time with it. It definitely had its flaws though, but most of them were just that the game really was super generic and incredibly mediocre at times. It never really did anything wrong for me, but it also just never did anything right either. There was never really much build up for anything, and for the most part there was only ever really one goal in mind over the course of the journey, and the game basically just stuck to it. If anything, it really truly was just a generic anime with some cute characters there to keep you interested, but for the most part that never really made it a good game. The crafting system seemed like it was only sometimes almost really involved, but at the same time, nothing was really difficult enough for it to need to be all that involved, so it didn't really add much to the experience outside of just being padding to an already average experience. Like every chapter you just do some story stuff that typically was just, hey, we're all thirsty for Shallie, and so the world ran out of water, so what are you gonna do about it, Shallie? And then you just go off and gather and craft for a little while, and suddenly more story. At the very least, the soundtrack of this game is outlandishly way better than anything else in this game. I've shared this OST with friends of mine that'll never see or play this game, and they just jam along to it at work all the time. And it's just such a good soundtrack that it doesn't really need any context for it to really enjoy it. Overall though, I would give this game like a 5 out of 10, probably for just being incredibly mediocre. Like I said, I really liked Shallie's character, so that's like 90% of what kept me going the entire game, but otherwise I probably would have gotten horribly bored with it and moved on with my life. It just never really did anything overwhelming or interesting in general. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video and would like to look forward to many more RPG game reviews in the future, be sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel. And if you're interested in seeing me actually play through a variety of games in real time, make sure you follow my Twitch stream at twitch.tv/rudyxx. Thanks for watching and see you next time.